Okay, we're coming back. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. My special guest today is DeLisle. She's a multi-instrumentalist, Grammy Awards winning singer-songwriter. She's got 3 names that I've counted so far. Are we missing any names or anything we don't know about?
I was a stripper for a while and went by Scarlett. So my one friend from
Scarlett.
high school, my friend from high school goes, "Hey, Aaron Gray, DeLisle, Scarlett, Griffin, DeLisle, Van Osprey." she just she likes
Wait
to
a minute.
tease.
Is that a true story?
Oh yes, I needed to make a demo tape for my voiceovers, and I was broke, and I was waiting tables and cleaning houses, and there was this contest. It was like an amateur contest, and you got $1,500 if you won. And man, when you really want, and my demo tape was 800, and I also needed like a little money for like a car and
Album
food
cover.
and everything.
Cool album cover.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yes. So I entered, and I was terrible, but I had talked to every guy in there before it started. So when all these beautiful blondes and like all these women with like that were professionals, I went up there in my Target underwear with my little, I mean, I didn't have any of the accoutrement.
Target
But I
underwear.
had talked to everyone. I was like, look, I need to make a demo tape. I do voices, and I talk like a little girl, and I talk like a little old lady, and I talk like a teenager or whatever. And I was like talking to them and stuff. Anyway, they were like, oh my god, that's great. And so I was like, I need a demo tape, and I wanted to do cartoons. So they were like, I'll vote for you. I'll vote for you. Every guy in there. So these women did not know what happened when I trotted out there. They were kind of laughing at me, and by the end, when they said, "And how about for this girl?" the place went completely bananas, and those ladies
Oh,
didn't even know what
so
hit me.
you know how to work, from an album covers to work in the room, you know how to work it to get where you, but this is a demo tape. I assumed because
Yeah,
you didn't say what the demo tape was for.
for
Assumed
voiceovers, like
music,
for
but this
no,
was for
it's for
cartoons.
voices, cartoons. Yeah,
So
yeah.
how did the men react when you said, "I'm trying to make money for a demo tape for cartoons"?
They probably thought it was porn or something. No, I was like, I need to I need to make this tape, and it's like $800, but I want to do cartoons, and it's just they were like, well, do some voices. So I was like, oh, I'm not shy. I did it right away, and yeah, I it's an embarrassing
You
story to tell, but it's a great story. I didn't tell it for a long time because I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. It's embarrassing. But then I'm like, you know what? After a
Yeah.
certain age, I'm just like, I own it. I own all
Hey,
my,
be proud
you
of your
know,
life. You live life. You
I
live
know how to
life, huh?
network.
Yeah.
When I was on Sugar Hill to get people to play my records on Sugar Hill, or actually before I even was on a label, I put out a record called The Small Time and then Home Wrecker. And then Sugar Hill took notice of that and they signed me to a 2-album deal with them. But those 2 first indie albums, I would send chocolate chip cookies to every radio station and I charted. Like I mean, I because they were
Hey.
like, well, this big package came. I'm like, oh, she made cookies, and I was like, I was calling it my payola because I was sending dough. Anyway, it was silly, but but no, it worked, and I still have friendships from that. They were like, it was just something different. You have to catch our attention. So
Well, yeah, and everybody at a radio station loves snacks because you're just sitting
yes,
around all day, little sweets to get you through the
they were
day. That's
good.
a
They were
good.
good.
Very smart. Very smart.
I always make my chocolate chip cookies in a muffin tin, so they're like crispy around the edges and
Uh,
like gooey in the middle. Anyway,
you have a lot of tricks. How many? You need to write some books
I'm
about
a tricky
tricks and
lady.
tips and tricks. Honestly, you may be Gray. You may be the most interesting person I've ever met, and I've only been talking to you for 15 minutes.
Where's my Dos Equis? Are we
Was
allowed
that-
to say that on here? I'm sorry.
what did you say?
There's like the commercial where the guy's like the most interesting man,
Yes.
and it's like for some beer or something.
Well, they should replace him with you. That's my vote. You get my vote. Um, so now I don't know where to go with this. I was reading like your Wikipedia page is, it reads like a really good country song and like halfway tabloid and I didn't know if I never bring up salacious things, but I was like, did she write this or did and I know you
I
can't, right?
wonder if
So but
who knows what's on Wikipedia. I'm not even sure.
well
What if is it true? You can tell me. I mean,
can
I'll
I
let you know
ask?
if it's
I'm
true or
like, I
not.
want to ask her this, but
Oh,
I
you
don't
can
know if I
ask me
should.
anything. I just told you about my amateur
Yeah, that's what
contest
I
I went.
figured. And now the
Yeah,
door's open.
go
Well,
for
it
it.
says it's talking about your first marriage to Christopher DeLisle, and then it says you later divorced after you accidentally confessed to cheating on him. I'm sorry if I
With
hope
the
I can laugh
Scrabble
at that.
game. No, with the Scrabble game. Yes, I was playing Scrabble. It was eating me away like, like the telltale heart or something like that. I was thinking about it. And so at one point he goes, "Are you cheating?" And I go, "Oh my god." The thing is, it's just like he drove me home and I was going in his whole thing and he was like, "I meant and Scrabble, he's like, this, I thought you turned over. He thought I had turned over a tile that had a letter on it to make it a
Oh
blank
my
tile.
God. Yeah.
So there's no going back from that. That was
No,
it.
but
And we were
you're
really young
honest.
too. I think we were like 20 years old. So yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Christopher. I'm sure I hope that I brought that up.
He's
I want to
doing great. I
apologize to your
introduced him
family.
to his now wife. He married her after 2 weeks. We were like 23 or something. He married her after 2 weeks. They are still together. They've got two kids. He's in Canada now. So he's happy.
Well, I want to talk about the album mainly with you and your
Yeah.
as a singer and a songwriter. Just you're just incredible, and I'm so happy to have discovered you. Thank you, Mark Platt. But you're so much more. You're an American voice actress, a comedian, a singer, songwriter, as we're talking about. But you're known for voicing the role of Daphne Blake on Scooby Doo,
Yes. Gee,
and
such a
so you've
creepy mystery how long I've voiced that since the year 2000. It's been 23 years. I can't believe it. I go
so
around every weekend. I've melded my music tours with doing autograph signings for those cartoon Comic-Con things. So
uh-huh.
I usually book a comic book store and I show up at the comic book store and I sign for like 4 hours to every people's pops or comics or different figures or whatever, and then I go off to the sound check and play. And also I've been filling clubs because at night people haven't I haven't been, I'm brand new back on the scene after 20 years, so I've written like 100 songs in the last year and I've been putting them out on Spotify every week. And so I've got this record coming out in October. She's an Angel. I've got a double album with Marvin Etzioni coming out, just called Gray DeLisle, but it's going to be gray colored. So we're going to call it the Gray album. It's going to look just like
Nice,
the White album, but it's going to be gray, and it's a
nice.
double album. And then I made a record with Jolie Holland from the Be Good Tanya's. She produced a record. It's very folky and cool, and it's featuring Buck Meek from Big Thief, the band Big Thief.
Hmm.
He's playing guitar on it, and we did it at his studio up in Topanga, which is beautiful. And then I have my thing that I'm most excited about, not to take away from anybody else, but Andy Paley, who's one of my favorite producers, who was in the Paley Brothers. He's worked with Brian Wilson, Jerry Lee Lewis, like all these amazing people. He came out to Deeks, and we did 12 songs, and we've got Stephen McCarthy from the Long Riders playing lead guitar, Murray playing bass from the old 97s, Deke, and it's a really great record. I'm really excited about it.
There, so
So
are these are each albums individually with these various producers, right? I mean,
yes.
Marvin, I don't know if I'm going to say his last name right, but Etzioni,
Etzioni.
yeah.
He was in Lone Justice. He wrote "You Are the Light," and
What did he
he's
do for Counting Crows? Counting Crows is one of my favorite
yes, he produced
bands
a
of.
track on their big album. I can't remember what album that was, but it was the big one with Long December and all that on it. Yeah, he didn't
Yeah,
do Long
okay.
December, but it was a
Um,
track on there. Yeah.
yeah, I know. I'm picturing the album cover right now. See,
Yeah.
album covers, good album
Yes.
covers.
What happened to
Got
them?
the
Now they're just
green
like
and
the
the
size of a
star.
thumbnail. I
I
keep putting
know.
all this work into my thumbnails, and my Spotify guy's like, "Great, it's so little. I don't know if anybody even cares." I'm like, "Well, I had it designed, and I did my hair like all 60s. I teased it up. I'm wearing boots because I have a single coming out next week called "Who Bought the Boots Beside Your Bed," and I've got boots. I've got the whole thing, and he's like, "I don't even know if anybody's going to see the boots. So you might be cut off, but do what you want, Gray."
You've got
But
some
yeah,
great. I mean, you've got a great instincts as far as branding. I mean, the photos that you sent me that I will share as we share
yeah.
this podcast and this on social. I just love them. So definitely we'll get those out there for you
Yeah,
no
when we
matter what.
perform, my hair is like gigantic. This is just everyday mom dropping off my kids at school. But when we perform, I wear these like June Carter Cash Appalachian wedding gowns, and my hair is gigantic, and all the boys wear mariachi suits and stuff. So
Oh, that's very
I've
cool.
got a look.
Yeah, I thought when I saw it, I thought, I'm like, who does she look like? Gray look like? And I was thinking of, it came to me afterwards, a little bit like Amy Winehouse with that
Oh
hair,
yes, yes. But
and
she
all
was
that.
doing what the girls. She was doing what I'm doing was trying to emulate all those '60s ladies. Like I always wanted to be Bobby Gentry. So my first album, Homewrecker, I've got like big Bobby Gentry hair, and the bigger the hair.
Do you like that persona? I mean, that was my question about, only for bringing up the voice work that you do. You are, you mentioned Dora. I don't know if we should say it again, Dora
No, that's
Explorer
all
and
right.
Frozen 2 and all that. Um, there are so many voices to you. There are so many, it seems like, personalities or personas to you. Do you sometimes forget, like who am I today? Who am I right now? Or is that part of you're almost childlike in a
No,
way that
it's
you're really living life and in a good way. I mean, like
yeah.
you're there, you're like you're going with whatever you feel like, the image you want to put out there,
Yeah, I
you're
forget
playing
it.
with it.
Sometimes they say, "Gray, just use your regular voice for this part," and I go, "What is my regular voice? I don't know." Like I did a song called "Sharecropping Man" on my on my record Graceful Ghost, and I did all the voices of, I did like, because first the mom's warning her not to be with the sharecropper, then the dad is, and at the end it's their daughter saying, "You guys worked out," and
Yeah.
so I did all the voices, so he'd sooner break his back than break a promise made to you. His empty hands are dirty, but his heart is pure and true. Anyway, but anyway, so and then at the end, I did. He'd sooner break his back than break a promise made to you. I'm not sure if it worked out, but it worked out for Dolly because I just covered Little Andy for the school pageant that my kids did last year at holiday time, and I was like, hey, Dolly's doing. Ain't she got no gingerbread? Ain't she got no candy? And I was like, she's doing a little girl voice. I can do it. If Dolly can do it, I can do it.
Oh, I love it, man.
WWDW. That's what I say. What would Dolly do?
What would Dolly do? Is that you live by that? That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a
it's a
good
good
one.
one. It is.
Okay. All right.